Brisbane-based Delilah Rose has been playing music since she was 21, has won a slew of awards, and played shows and festivals on either side of the country. She released the album Moxie in 2022 and now has a brand new single, Sophia, which I'm obviously curious about. So I'm going to ask her about it. Hello, Delilah.
Hi, Soph. How you going?
I'm very well, thank you. Pleased to see you. It's been, I think, a year and a bit. I think we spoke at the start of 2024. So yeah.
Yeah, how time flies.
Look, it does. It really does. But you've been flying with it. You played in Perth. I'm sure you've been playing elsewhere. So how has your musical life been since we last spoke?
It's been a roller coaster. Yeah, a roller coaster. I moved to Brisbane and I've been figuring out what that means now.
Because this is a big continent, and West Coast lifestyle, from everything I've gathered, is quite different to East Coast lifestyle. So, because yes, you are originally from Perth, you're now based in Brisbane. Has there been a sea change within you, shall we say, one coast to another?
Oh, there's been so much change, Soph. I finished the album. I finished my release cycle of Moxie. So
Mm.
that finished, and then I moved states and started perimenopause and got diagnosed with ADHD as well. And it was just all of these really big things
Mm.
at the same time. And then also trying to get my family, settled into new schools and
Mm.
trying to get the cat out from under the bed and trying to just find good coffee and all the really important things like that. It was a very loud first 6 months.
Well, trying to find good coffee is also, I think, about community, right? So, what are your coffee tips for us in Brisbane?
If you're north of the river, definitely the farmhouse. The coffee there is really, really great. But, coffee, I talk about pizza to my husband. Like, pizza's still really good. Like, even when it's shit pizza, because as long as you're eating it with someone that's really great, I can still eat shit pizza, and I think it's the same with coffee. Just depends who you're with.
Fair
Or
enough.
not with.
Yeah, yes, true. The solo caffeination can be a thing. So, which suburb is the farmhouse in?
That one's in Kedron. Yeah, Kedron in the northern suburbs of Brisbane. That's near where I live.
I've been to Brisbane so many times, but always still a little bit confused directionally. And a friend of mine who grew up there, lives there, said to me, "Oh, it's because the river is a double M." And I was like, "Okay, now that makes sense. Why I keep feeling like I'm turned this way and that all the time."
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, it is so confusing. The river really is great, but also confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're obviously settled there now. And the last time we spoke, I think you had just started running the Song Café, which is something that you have started in Brisbane. So please tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Song Cafe is songwriters in the round idea. It's like the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, where there are four songwriters. We each sing a song, tell a story about the song, and it's a space where you can elaborate a little bit further on the song that you present, kind of thing. And we jump in on each other's songs, and but the night is just for women, First Nations, and gender non-conforming artists. So I really wanted to just give a stage and a microphone to those who perhaps don't have it as often.
Mhm.
And I really just wanted to connect and have an excuse to talk to people and email them without it being creepy or weird. Can you please be my friend? Can I play a show with you? So putting on an event is a really great cover for meeting people in a new city. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. And it's been great because I've met lots of really great people. Made some new friends, which is really weird when you're 45. And you're like, can you be my friend?"
I think, this is a real thing, partly we should talk about it because we often hear about loneliness
Yep.
epidemics. And as one ages, of course, friends disappear for various reasons, sometimes because they die, and sometimes because they have families or they've moved away, that sort of thing. And it takes a bit of courage to make new friendships because, of course, you don't know if someone's going to like you or think you're being a bit weird when you're saying, oh, hi, can I be your friend? No matter how sincerely it's meant, and it's always a compliment, I think. But yeah, just to acknowledge the bravery of doing it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tricky. And I get that it's easier to not leave the house. I and putting pants on, like it takes a lot of energy to go and do that. But it's worth it. So it's so worth it in the end to be heard and seen by people is a gift. Yeah. Yeah. That you is reciprocal, you're not just going out there and taking from people. You're also seeing and hearing them when you sit with them. There's nothing that compares with looking people in the eye and being able to say, "Oh, I'm having trouble." And they say often, "I'm having trouble too."
Yeah.
Let's swap solutions, and maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just commiserating with each other,
Yeah.
and gosh, it's helpful.
I love the idea of swapping solutions. To go out. I also happened to see recently there's a documentary about the band Kingswood, and the documentary is called Claptrap. And Kingswood's a Melbourne band. There are two men at the center of it, Fergus and Alex. And at one point, Alex says that he realized the default setting of anyone is to take, basically. So he's really mindful to give. And just I was reminded of that when you were talking about the taking and giving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that at the Song Cafe as well, like it's always such a beautiful audience that it's not just about the people on stage, it becomes about the people in the audience as well. And it's a really special night. Um, to be an audience member as well, because we take and give as people on stage and audience members, and it's this reciprocal thing again to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So if an artist would like to perform at the Song Cafe, can they approach you, or are you doing all the approaches?
A little bit of both, yeah. So I'm programming the nights, but it's from people mostly who have just there's a form through my Instagram. So if you go to the link in this, if you look up the Song Cafe on Instagram and then go to the link in the bio, it'll take you to a Google form, fill out all your information. And I mean, it's taken me a little while because I'm just a one-woman show. So just getting through everyone and programming the right three artists to share the stage. So I like to have someone who's a little bit more has more experience than, and someone who doesn't have much experience and sort of in between so that we can all, the idea is to gain more experience together and because I think we're better together, and swapping stories with each other, and it's good.
Yeah. And you have also hosted songwriting retreats. Have you done any lately?
There's one coming up actually in WA. That one is in May, at the end of May in York, in the wheat belt of WA, and it's a part of the York Regional Writers Festival. So I'm looking forward to that. That one's a 3-night, 4-day event. This one's for men and women and everyone between. So we're looking forward to that.
And is it full, or can people still apply?
There's still a few spots available. Yeah, 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 yeah. Come along.
Details on your website, I'm sure, and I will put your website link in the show notes
Yeah.
accompanying this. Not unrelated is that when I was looking on that website, I saw that you offer one-on-one songwriting sessions and also campaign strategy sessions. Now, this one really interested me because there's quite a detailed description of what that is. I thought, not many people are offering that, and it looked really helpful, but I'd like you to describe it if you can.
Oh gosh. There's so much that goes into getting a song from its finished product out to the world. There are so many buttons to press and forms to fill out. And if you don't quite know the machine and all of the things to do, it feels like like a completely new language that you've got to learn. And I've done it a few times now, and I thought I could teach some other people how to do it, and then they'd know. So that's, yeah, one of the things that I offer on the website as well, is just to show people how to, yeah, get your creation out to the world, because it's, you know, it's great to have a thing, but it's really great when everyone can hear it as well.
Yeah. And I think the majority of artists are self-managed,
Oh, yeah.
and independent. And so there usually is not someone else who could offer that sort of advice.
No, no. And there's not someone else who can do that work either. I used to do that work as well, but I don't want to spend that much time on social media anymore. It's just not a great space to be in all the time. So
No.
I'll just teach other people how to do it.
That's
Go and be on your own socials. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's fair enough. No, that's a nice segue to talk about the release of your own new song, which is Sophia, as I said at the top, interesting name. And you said it's essential exploration of faith, individuality, and the divine feminine. I'd like to start with the faith side of it,
Yeah.
because you also said that your faith has been dismantled and rebuilt through this period of change that you referred to earlier. So I'm interested in what that looked like what the faith looked like before, and what it feels like now.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in the Uniting Church in a very small country town in Wheatbelt, WA. I grew up on a farm, and in that town, you either played footy or you did sport on a Sunday morning, or you went to church. There was sort of not many people who did. You did one or the other. And my family went to church every Sunday. My dad was the organist, and my mum, I grew up standing next to mum singing harmonies, and all the old great gospel songs. And so yeah, that was my upbringing. And that was our Sundays. But Sunday afternoons, like, Dad's car was a Monaro, a 78 Monaro, and we'd drive back from church in that, and then go and listen to, Joe Cocker and the Beatles and the Stones. And so it was balanced, at least. But yeah, growing up in the church is a bit of a funny one. And I think I finally came. There's such a wrestle over the years, and I think I finally come to a place where I have my own spirituality, and it's not my parents' spirituality, and what my understanding of spirituality and faith is, and feeling really comfortable about that. And talking at family barbecues that, well, I don't actually agree with what you're saying, and that's okay, because I'm a 45-year-old woman, and I'm allowed to have my own faith and spirituality. And it was just an interesting discovery, I guess. And I think perimenopause is a great uncoverer of many things. The beautiful blanket of estrogen gets drawn back, and all these things are laid bare, and you're forced a little bit to take a good hard long look at yourself. And Sophia wisdom was there. Sophia actually means wisdom. And I've read some very interesting books, and I've been searching and pressing in, and yeah, listening in a little bit more to instinct and what's right for me. And it was really great to meet Sophia. It was a catalyst, no, like a
I think catalyst is a good word though, right? Like it's well, an accelerant maybe.
yeah, absolutely. Like all the things I'd been feeling and like wrestling with, it all became clear. And I'd read this book about the divine feminine, and I was like, oh, hang on. Oh, God doesn't have a sex. All this time, I grew up with, the patriarchy and God being a man. And then I was like, oh, right. But Sophia, and she got written out of the Bible because she was a woman. And it was like another name for the Holy Spirit. And all this stuff unraveled. And I struggled and wrestled with it all. And even just worldviews of where we're up to now. And then it all came woven beautifully back together in a song. And I was like, oh, great. What? Yeah, great. Okay, great.
Well, yeah, orthodoxies are really hard to not only unpick, but to leave unpicked, I think, because those structures that are put in place, whether it's church or something else, or patriarchy for that matter, can be quite comforting. And yeah, it's easier to move back inside those structures than it is to try to make something new yourself.
Absolutely. And we love routine. We like things to stay the same as humans, and it's scary when they don't. And so to unpick something and then sort of left stranded with all the strands going, well, what do I do now? And I was also in a new state, trying to like help my emotional family deal with their neurospiciness as well. And like, what do I do now? And thank goodness I've got music as therapy.
But I will also say, since you've been reading some books, and I will ask you in a second what those books were, but the writing out of Sophia from various things also, in my life, it's a yoga lineage for many years now, and the studies I did a few years ago on the chakra system. The chakra system, as we know it, came into the West through Carl Jung, actually, and Arthur Avalon before him. But the translations from the Sanskrit into English conveniently left out the Shakti part, and that's the divine feminine. So if you go back to the source texts, Shakti is actually in there. And I know this through a scholar called Christopher Tompkins, who went back to the source text and was like, look at this. Shakti is all through this. It's not Shiva doing everything. And yeah, so it has happened for so long.
So interesting, isn't it? So interesting. I really enjoy it's like it was the missing link for me. And like I just never saw myself in spirituality. I never saw myself in faith until I was like, oh, right, the divine feminine. Oh, right. Oh, and just swapping it over to be a woman. I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. Oh my gosh. Ha, who knew?
So which books were you reading?
Oh, so I was just listening to another audio book actually. What's her name? Sue Monk Kidd.
Oh yeah.
And it's an old book from the 90s that she had written. And it's pretty much the story, it's the same story. She was a devout Christian, and the divine feminine knocked on her door and she was like, oh, whoa. And it's the written story of the unraveling and the retying back together, and it's beautifully written. I think she wrote The Secret Life of Bees as well, and
Did,
some
yeah.
other bits and pieces, but it was a great read. And Carl Jung has some there's he's in there as well, and there's another guy that I forget his name now, but yeah. Oh no, I've forgotten both of their names. I'm terrible at names, Sophie, sorry.
Oh, look, I work with books, and people say, ask various questions about books. And I'm like, I don't know. There's just too many names in my head at this point in time. So you said that, yeah, the song emerged out of all this, but can you remember the initial spark of it that actually you thought, okay, I need to put this down?
It definitely came from reading Sue's book, because she doesn't just she doesn't just go, like, it wasn't just like an epiphany for her and she just changed. She researched it all. So she goes through all these different religions and she there's research about all the different ways and things that she talked about and read through, and one of them is the discovery of Sophia. And I think I reread that chapter so many times, and it came from there. It came from the chapter in the book pretty much, and just about meeting her and about meeting Sophia and about like I've been waiting for you for so long, and like it's finally this understanding is like dropped from the coffee filter of my brain into my actual body, and and the knowing in your body. Oh, right. And that's actually what faith is, isn't it? Like, oh yeah, right, I know. Do I have exact like re refutable like um evidence that's a thing? No, absolutely I don't. And your faith might be different to mine, and that's okay. Like, but for me, that's real and true for me. And it was like and then it came from a couple of chords that came from they played at Woodstock, and it's sort of like it just goes over a couple of chords backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and it sort of sounds like a meditation kind of thing. You know how in yoga you chant, and there's a beautiful om that you do as well, and just the idea of that so I guess is sort of woven through it, especially at the end of the song where it sort of like goes off into this. I could imagine like just all the stuff coming like crying out of me and then being filled up, like being emptied out and then being filled up again. Like it was such a spiritual looking back, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And now there is a small person over your shoulder. I'm just checking if you're happy for them to be on that.
Oh, he's getting paper so he can do some colouring in, perhaps.
Well, that's all right. I always just like to make sure that the parents like the kids to appear, even if briefly. So,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
so you mentioned the knowing in the body, and I think this is and also instinct earlier. We're talking about learning to work with your instinct, and these are things that we can be trained out of from a young age, and especially in the sort of society we're in, where there is an emphasis on intellectualism and an emphasis away from any kind of body mind idea really. But I am very fond of saying to people, particularly if they're engaged in creative works, like, don't intellectualize what's going on. So don't try to think yourself into a manuscript being ready or a song being ready, that sort of thing. How do you feel when you sit and ask yourself, is my manuscript ready? Like, is my novel ready? You'll feel it and you know it, and then you can try to talk yourself out of it and intellectualize yourself away from it. But we all know, in the body we know.
Absolutely. Absolutely we do. And we have really, moved away from that. And I think, again, like the divine feminine just really, I guess, gives permission for that as well, that exists, A, and that B, that it is okay.
You also have a video, which is, I think, really, really fitting for the song. And there are different scenes in it, including you recording, or it looks like you're recording, looks like you got headphones on, looks like you're in a studio. And I really like that was included, because it was that expression of your feminine energy as an artist. And we have it documented in the video.
Yeah, that was a really special day, and I'm glad that Jamie Lee Dimes came along and was my videographer for the day and captured the day, and it was really great. So what you're hearing is actually what I'm singing in the studio. Yeah. Um, and my son was sick that day, so he had to come along as well. And it was kind of cool that he was there to see that happen. And I ended up in hospital that night too. I it was a big day. So
That's an understatement.
yeah. So it was like a big purge or something. Yeah, it was big.
Hopefully you weren't in hospital for too long.
I was actually there for 4 days.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
serious business.
yeah, I think it was food poisoning. But I was the only one that got food poisoning, and I got the food for everyone. So it was a bit of a strange thing. But I got to spend 4 days in hospital with, room service and some great doctors and some great drugs.
Yeah. Look, as I'm fond of saying, they never want you to be in pain or uncomfortable. They will happily give you the drugs.
It
So that
was
happens.
it was a really great rest actually, because just before that I'd also been in WA on tour. So I went tour straight into recording and then food poisoning, hospital for 4 days. It's like, oh, this is amazing. And not the food poisoning, that was terrible.
Yeah. But at least you were well tended in
That's
hospital.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So given that all of this has been swirling around, being taken into your body, being expressed through the song, has your songwriting process changed in any way since you've been embracing the divine feminine?
No, not really. Not really at all. It's so the album coming up is called The Unlearning, and it's really about, I think it's a Carl Jung thing. He talks about the first and second halves of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, so the idea is that the unlearning is, you unlearn the ego half of life, and then I'm in this like transition time where you're like, oh right, oh okay, cool, and life's just it's a bit different than what I thought it was going to be, and what do I want to take with me into this second half, and what am I good to get rid of? And I
Mm-hmm.
think perimenopause and menopause is a really beautiful, first and second half transition time as a woman, and learning about that and my body, and like I thought we were good, like I knew what I was doing, and then what is what is this? What is this? Come on. But like HRT, great, awesome. Moving on, awesome. But I think I've just with Sophia, I was able to put a name and permission to my writing, and like, oh no, and now that I understand that like I have a word for it and I can feel that intuition more, I'm like, oh no, that's a song. There's one too. Better write that down before it gets away.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, that's interesting in and of itself. That
very.
yeah, to use your intuition to, and I would imagine some people would say that that's the muse, but maybe the muse has always been intuition. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. It's like joining all the dots, isn't it? Like, yeah. And I think it's even bigger than we don't even understand. And I don't have to understand it. I just know that it's super amazing, and I feel very, very lucky that it's a part of my life and I can use it as therapy when I need it to.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think it's, creative expression is fundamental to well-being. In fact, I'm reading a book at the moment called We Need Your Art by an author called Amy McNee, because I'm actually going to interview her for another podcast. And essentially that's what she's saying. It's creativity is absolutely fundamental to well-being. That's not negotiable, and you just have to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you have to make time for it. You just have to. It's the same as going for a jog, or doing weights, or the importance for people who sing on a stage or who sing in the shower. Like it's so important. And I think that's what's really been lacking in the music industry, is that there's this tiny piece of the pie that is the music industry, and then the rest of it is music community. And we don't like you don't have to put out a Grammy award-winning album for music to be, just like change you at a cellular level, and for it to have benefit in your body and you as a human and like, coming together with other humans to look at each other and talk about music or listen to music or, whatever it is, like it's just so beneficial and we're doing it all wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm actually really interested in that statement. We're doing it all wrong. Like exactly what do you mean by that?
Oh, just I guess with the music industry and like ca capitalism and having a monetary value on something that everyone has access to. And, like in the olden days, everyone had a piano and we all sang around it together as a family. And, like it was, that's just what you did.
Yeah,
And it was, we didn't do it because it was good for us. We
yeah,
did it probably because there was nothing much else to do. We didn't have a TV and but it also felt really good to sing with each other and look at each other and baha and yeah, how good's that? And just sharing time together. It's just we have science and all the amazing technology now that can go, oh, well, actually here are all the intellectual reasons why music's really, really good and why we should all be doing it. But there seems to be like this mix match between the science side of things and and the heart side of things as to
mhm,
why that's we're not doing more of it. Like if the AFL, my son plays AFL and they get them in at 5 years old. Like, and if the government was throwing as much money as they do at AFL, if they were throwing as much money at music as they were from 5 years old, can you
yeah,
imagine?
yeah,
You imagine? It's like a cult. Like, it's incredible. The community, how they are organized as a community absolutely blows my mind, but it's because they have government backing and government funding behind it. It just, I couldn't believe how organized it was.
yeah,
And yeah, it is so well, it's a well-oiled machine,
yeah.
which is great. Get people moving, awesome. But just, oh, what a missed opportunity for music. It's like 40, $50 for a lesson for music now for my kids. But we have $200 gift vouchers from the government for them to play sport.
Right.
Oh, what a missed opportunity.
And I think, as you said, it's a well-oiled machine. We don't have that well-oiled machine for music is the issue.
No, and it's been coupled for too long with alcohol and sales and venues making money and it's a shitstorm of so many wrong connections
Mm.
that have happened. And there that I'm sounding very negative, but there have been some beautiful things come out of it, like house concerts and those sorts of things have become more prevalent and more available now. But it will be interesting to see where it heads in the next 5, 10 years, especially with this election coming up, as to, what happens next with live music and, festivals.
Yeah, there seems to be a revivification of live music, at least as far as I can tell. Around now, I'm seeing audiences coming back to live music, at least in Sydney, the venues we have left, to numbers that I was used to seeing before the pandemic, which I find is really encouraging. Because the issue is a lot of the venues are not there anymore, and to open a new venue, who knows how feasible that is, at least within metropolitan areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the same in Brisbane as well. Some like old venues who have been going for years, who are like staunch original music venues have closed down and just there's no money in it for the owners anymore, kind of thing. Which is, yeah, which is awful. And no money, there's certainly never been any money for musicians in it either. Lucky I love it.
Oh, yeah, and one shouldn't have to do it for love necessarily when you have the expenses of putting on shows and all those sorts of things, because a lot of the times the artists are taking the risk for
Absolutely.
these things. And but you talked about this very small piece of it that is music industry and the very large piece that is music community. And to bring it back to where we started just talking
Mm.
is actually with the Song Cafe and the community that you have created. And I think it's worth acknowledging that one person, i.e. you, has created a whole organism that has drawn other people into it, and then is no doubt having its own effects with connections that are made between the artists who appear in it and the connections you are making. And that's not, I guess that's not tangible. That's not something that can be put into a report. You can't point to it and say, well, this many people have actually been positively affected by this, the way you can point to a stadium crowd and say it's this many people at the game.
Absolutely. And it's all the and you know, we'll try and write that down intellectually, because we're coming up to applying for a grant, another grant for it. And it is really hard to write that all down, because you know the look in, how do you tangibly write that, the look in someone's
Yeah.
eye, but like when they first started playing their first song on stage to when they finished playing it, and they're changed because they get to be on stage with other people. And we're so siloed as singer-songwriters, you know, you write songs in your bedroom and then you play them on stage, kind of thing. And then to be able to like jam out and have a good time on stage, like I encourage people to sing harmonies and shake I've got a medicine. It's one of the, you know, vitamin bottle with some lentils in it, and we shake things and jump in on each other's songs, and it's yeah, joy. It's joy. It's joyful and it's playful, and it's really great to see other, you know, women connecting with other women.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because we're just better together. We shouldn't, yeah, we're meant for relationship, and even though that's really tricky sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But I think all of this work that you put in place with this and work you've done before, you know, with when you were in Perth as well, is perhaps what made you really ready to receive that message of the divine feminine when you found it in the books. Like you had put everything there, and it was like you had created the well for it.
Oh yeah, I love that, Soph. That's really cool. Like divine timing, you know, you can't rush relationship either. You just cannot. We've got all this social media and algorithms, and we're fed all the right XYZ, but you just cannot rush relationship and meeting new people, and you can't rush divine timing. There's no it just has to be the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And goodness me, I like wrestled against that so much, so many times. You know, like, why didn't I get that? What? And then it all pans out how it's supposed to, and you're like, oh, okay, go on then.
And you know, divine timing for your song to be released as well. Obviously, since you mentioned an album, it is the first song of what will become an album, and presumably that is already in the works, just apart from the one song.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I just had lunch with my producer Tristan Bird today, and we've just finished the second single, and that's so exciting because I co-wrote it with a Grammy award-winning songwriter from America. Her name's Melody Walker, and she won because she'd written the song American Dreaming with Sierra Farrell.
Right.
I'm a huge Sierra Farrell fan, and now I'm a Melody Walker fan as well. And we wrote a song together, and long story short, it's coming out very soon.
Fabulous. Well, I look forward to hearing it. In the meantime, people can listen to Sophia and watch the video, and both are terrific. And Delilah Rose, you are terrific. So it's been lovely to talk to you, and I hope to do so
Likewise.
again sometime soon.
Thanks so much, Soph.
Yeah.